And good morning, everybody. Just thought I'd take some time to take a look at the Twitter review for the week. Normally I do that Friday, but here we go. It's a Saturday, so we got to get caught up. Kind of busy with work. So, what we're going to do is take a look here back to Friday. Well, that was on the 2nd, and they were just talking about some changes that they wanted to do with their Reddit. So, I'm going to move on to Saturday. So Richard Keene put out though that they're working on tree line of distance work, I'm assuming, or level of detail. I'm not sure. I think level of detail might work better. Uh, Usually, to me, my understanding, level of detail is kind of like how good the trees look, depending on how close you are to them. And it's kind of weird to me because most of the tweets and things I have seen have been all about the trees, and it's like it's hard for me to imagine just kind of what an impact trees have on the game. But honestly, it makes sense because when it comes out, when this patch hits, even if they just released a tree patch, but let's say that tree hits, the tree patch comes, we'll notice anything that's wrong about the trees because the current trees, it's really hard not to notice what is wrong with the trees. And so that could very well be why they're spending so much time on trees because it just feels like every tweet I read has something to do with the trees. Texturing, details, how many are on screen. It's just kind of like, okay, we get it. You're working on the trees. But it seems like that's been a sore point of contention though for a long time is those trees that they currently have. So I appreciate it. I just hope this doesn't become labeled the tree patch, which is kind of what I'm thinking it is right now. It's the tree patch. So we'll see how the tree patch works out. And then I think that was Monday, May 5th, if I can find my calendar. But I think Monday, May 5th then was Jeff Keane put out, do you want to see roads? And then they put out a picture here of the roads. So they're new roads or additional roads. They didn't specify, but I wouldn't see them taking out the old roads because, even in the real world, it's a mixture of roads. And so, this here's a sample. I could see this being kind of like some residential type roads because it's got sidewalks. So I think that's pretty cool. And I could see that being in amongst their areas that has the housing, and then they could go back to the other roads that looked kind of more interstate-ish, highway-ish type roads in between the different sections, the different town sections. So bring it on, give us new roads. Now they said that this road was not a finished road and that they're working on the scale, that the people in the picture were the appropriate scale to kind of give you an idea. And I think they said they might widen the roads. That way it has more of a two-lane kind of fixture to it. So, we'll see how it comes out. But there's a picture of a tree in the background and some shade. The trees. The trees. All right, so nice roads. Then on Tuesday, I think that is, 6 May, Tuesday, Jeff Keane put, I have updated the Dead Linger development roadmap a bit. 3 sections in particular were out of date: the ranged combat, crafting, and gather wood. So what that means is I have a chance to go back and revisit the Road to the Apocalypse. I did go in and update. I don't know if I actually recorded an update, but I went in, I had my spreadsheet, and I put in some changes that they had made. So I'll have to go back and double check again, and then I can make another roadmap to the apocalypse and see specifically what he's changed. It's hard to say if he's changed just the percentage or the wording. So go back and we'll have to do an update to the roadmap. That's something though that I really like though, is the fact that they've got this roadmap that they share. I've been waiting on the H1Z1 roadmap so I can kind of follow along with that, and we haven't seen it yet. We have a pretty good idea of what H1Z1 will have because they have a pretty transparent development team. They spend a lot of times talking with folks. So it will be interesting to see what their roadmap looks like and if it's laid out in a similar fashion to what the Dead Linger has. I think the Dead Linger has an outstanding roadmap, and it's been really good to be able to go in and see the different parts of the roadmap that specifically details out a part of the game, and then kind of see the progress. So once I go in and update the roadmap, I can come back and do kind of a revision, So it'll be nice to see. And let's see. And then also on, I think that's a Tuesday, Hacker Girl put a few additions to the Dead Linger subreddit, Kickstarter backer, and link flares. So if I click that, of course you probably have to look for it. Not sure. I hadn't looked at it yet. I was waiting for this to come in and check it out. So I don't know if that meant they included something here. Oh, new user flare. There it is. It's at the very, very top. It's stickied. Let's see. As you can see, it looks way different. I've added some new user flare for everyone to use. If you like, feel free to suggest new color schemes and flares. Oh, okay. Link flare and Kickstarter backer flare. I haven't figured out how to use the flare. See, that was something they mentioned was if you were going to do some things in here, you had to make some changes or click on some stuff. I am not a Reddit expert. I know enough to come in and look at stuff and make comments, but I really don't know anything about adjusting the look of my the Reddits. I know. I'm such a noob. Sorry. So I guess maybe I'll have to play with that so I can see better what they're doing with their Reddit page. And then on the 8th, this was, I believe, the Thursday. Richard Keen, today on the Dead Linger, performance debug memory use. So more troubleshooting and fixes coming along the way. And then Richard Keen, just a few hours ago, put finished terrain, trees, grass optimization, start instance. I think that's LOD. I think that is level of detail work. More performance, essentially. So here's some comments that I have. They're probably doing quite a bit, but compared to previous weeks of tweets, it's been very quiet, and that's depressing. I have to admit that 12-hour H1Z1 stream really spoiled me to wanting to see behind the scenes in the development of the game, and it would be very cool to see something like that more often from the Dead Linger team. So I understand they are a small team and they might not have the time and resources to sit there and make a whole bunch of videos and things like that, but fans of the game are going to be fans, and fans will eat up whatever content they put out, whether it's online video blogs more often than what they do, things that really kind of show what it means to work at Sandswept, and specifically what it means to work on the Dead Linger. So obviously nobody wants to copy what Sony does and do the exact same type of stuff and have people say, oh, well, they're just copying what the H1Z1 team did. But we don't care. We want to see our game, and I say our game because I've only paid my $20, but I like to think that I'm a part of this process. I've given feedback. I show things for the game, and I like to feel like I'm a part of that development history. So no, I don't work on the team. I don't actually program or code, but I love to give feedback. And anybody who provides feedback for them, whether they like something or dislike it, they're a part of the game now. And we like to see what that behind the scenes are like. Now, the only other thing that disappoints me is no hints yet as to when a patch will come. Now, I know that they've said before that they're not going to hype or lead up to a patch until it's like the day of or the day before the patch, because they don't want to set those false expectations and hopes, which totally makes a whole lot of sense, because being that small development team they are, it'd be really hard. I could see how that's a lot of pressure to hit those internal build dates and goals when you have a couple people who actually do all of the programming and coding. So I get that. Bigger companies like Sony, that's easier for them to set milestones because they have a huge development team. So I can understand why they don't want to do that. But in a discussion I had with Lunas Games, or a comment that he shared, I call it a discussion, but he shares good comments and I read them and I agree. He said it's a real shame though that we wait 2 months for approximately 5 minutes worth of content. And this was something that we had mentioned when we talked about build 13 specifically, was it took them a good 2 months to come out with. And we got like a bicycle, and there was like a list of changes, but things that you actually see in the game didn't really fill out that what felt like a 2 month wait. And so when we read these tweets, it just kind of really shows, like, oh my goodness, what exactly is going to be in this next build to make us feel like it was worth the wait of a 2 month, in between time for the patches, especially when they said that it would be possible for them to release little patches along the way. And I don't see anything in here in the tweets addressing when a patch might come, mini patches, and mostly it just feels like working on trees and grass. So it'd be really good to start seeing some tweets and things come out more often from them, talking about the development and where the next build is going. So I look forward to the next week of tweets just to see how we're progressing. And hopefully we'll start hearing word on the next patch mentioned here in the tweet. So thanks for hanging out. Go ahead, share some thoughts what you might have about expectations you have of the patch, what it means for you. What are some things that you would like to see in their tweets? And we'll talk to you next week. All right, take care. Bye.